specifically at players like Godly. Because Godly was playing Asuri for a while when Asuri was, I don't want to say new hotness, but for lack of a better term, the new hotness. But the way that you had to play that sword to be successful wasn't a way that Godly wanted to play. And then you saw him move to the other legends, including especially the Wu Shang that he's been playing recently. But Megd thrives in that type of gameplay. That is what Megd is known for better or for worse, despite the way people talk about it. This time, though, first weapon is going to go immediately to Impala.
And we haven't been getting to see a lot of Brawlhaven, but the bright colors, we've been seeing so much Fortress Alliance, so much Apocalypse, that dark brownish hue. It's good to see the blue sky come out on top of these two players, and Impala, he's using that free range of motion on the short space map. Just kind of harass Megd here with the bow kit, getting him to that light orange as soon as the game starts within the first 30 seconds. And you're seeing the Katars, they like to come down on you with that that down air aerial move, and the bow has the perfect move to catch you out on your jump there with that end light.
Yeah, the punish game has definitely been favoring Impala so far. Now, one thing you mentioned earlier was how much we saw Impala dashing and using the new dash options at DreamHack Valencia. And it seemed like it wasn't sustainable. Like, he was doing it a lot. He was doing it an incredible amount, more than virtually any other player. And I think since then, he's kind of calmed down on it a little bit. We're still seeing him do it a lot, quite a bit, but not nearly as much as he was at DreamHack Valencia, just because like it wasn't like physically sustainable. The human body was not meant to do that many actions per minute with what he was having to do.
He has the mind, but not the body. You need to build a stronger one.
The mind is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Well, Megd needs to get his mind and flesh in order, as right now it seems like Impala just has him beat in every department. He's landing more hits, he's finding these KOs faster, and the neutral game is also there for him. You're seeing him catch he's jumping with Megd, making him think, alright, it's gonna be a floating in between us, but every single time he touches the ground, he catches Megd's landing as well. He's like, yeah, I'll jump with you. Wait, no, I won't. Good luck getting the ground. The side stick's gonna come out on that whiff stare, and it's gonna be a 2-stock lead for Impala.
He was juggling Megd from the air, but more importantly from the ground as well. He's now swapped over to the spear. Even that little weapon toss right there, adding up just a little bit of damage, a little bit of momentum interruption. Now that Megd does have the Katars, he's fishing for the side airs. Finally gets the recovery to get the KO, but I mean, technically he's more than a full stock behind, as he has a little bit of damage as Impala is spawning back in. The unarmed neutral air gave him plenty of room to get over, grab the bow. Trying to land these maybe falling side airs, these neutral airs as well. There's the sidelight to start it out. No major push forward, just kind of sticks in the middle of the stage.
The downlight, the dairy is there. You can see the half pipe start up. He doesn't get the second down air he was looking for. Now, Impala
that's
the
big.
Edge is just going to close off that game. From one interaction where Megd was honestly in the lead of it all, he gets a good bit of damage, and as soon as they end up off stage, Impala is punishing him.
I can't believe that KO. Like, yeah, it's about ground pound and orange. I understand that. But holy cow, the fact that KO'd. I would not... okay, yeah, the first thing that Megd banned out was Small Brawlhaven. That was insanely early. And I wasn't able to catch the damage breakdown on the actual weapons themselves, but it was like 462 damage or something on the bow, and then the rest were under 100. He averaged 167 damage per stock that game, largely in part because of that ground pound that took Megd out at about maybe 110, 120.
Now Megd going for an aggressive option here on the second game. He swapped it over. He's dropped the Katars. He said they weren't working for him, even though he did find that first knockout. And he found the brunt of his damage on the second stock with the Katars. He's saying he'd rather have this high speed. He hasn't picked up Spear yet, so I don't know if that's why he switched to the Tori, but the stat difference is definitely going to be noticeable as he uses that movement around the map.
I would like to see him just, I mean, not even necessarily focus on the spear more. We'll see what he does with it. But the fact that he's off of Katars, I'm much happier with that, because they were just not working. He's great at Katars. He's a fantastic guitar player, but they were just 100% not working against Impala whatsoever. He was struggling to find his way in. Like, yeah, he got that one the Qatar dare loop string, but other than that, we saw virtually nothing coming out from his Katars, and now he has a lead. It's partially due to the swordplay that he's doing so far. Maybe it's also the higher movement speed, lets him maneuver around compared to also the movement speed that Kaya has, but he's still getting juggled.
Now, we saw Phazon in Summer Championships bring Impala to Game 5 on the same matchup, and he was just using that high movement speed on both weapons, honestly. just to challenge Impala's movement. And I think that's one of the things that Impala doesn't really expect or see coming, right? It's like he moves really well, and then you give him a player that's willing to just go, okay, move all you want. I'm challenging you head on. You're going to have to give up stage. You're going to have to give up pressure, as we're seeing Megd do here. We're seeing a lot of Impala just gesturing back and forth, and Megdy's the one that's actually moving towards him with these weapon throws, with these sword end lights, and it's actually working here. It's knocking Impala out of his footsies, out of his happy place where he likes to be on the ground.
Nice falling dare there coming out from Megd. Again, he's doing a great job controlling that center stage. This time the weapon toss comes out. He's also able to pick up the spear neutralite. He's going to have solid range here to deal with the bow. Great edge guard coming out. He actually did a spot dodge there and just waited, bouncing off the wall, hitting the side air as well. The ground pound coming out. No, he's going to be more careful. Use the range of the down air, and he's going to absolutely confirm it with yet another one. Now Megd has a 2-stock lead. This is huge for him. This swap, and he's going to get breakdanced.
Very reminiscent of the first game, but this time in his favor. He's the one with the 2-stock lead this time. Even through all the spear dare changes, that momentum shift on the backdrift of it, he was still able to get 3 dares in a row there and confirm the stock off of Impala very, very early. And we're seeing 2 more dares come out there, and the damage is somewhat even here, but the stock deficit is just going to be so relevant here as he gets that sidelight downlight there. And Impala feels like he has to do something here. He has to go with the brute force aggression, and it's just not working. Megd's setting up that wall, and he's beating him at every single turn.
I'm really loving this switch, and not just because like he's doing a great job here and winning, but I would love to see the Hattori make more presence known in tournaments coming out from Megd. Not just as a like the Asuri isn't working, but I would like to see maybe the Hattori take the prominent first spot, maybe be the starter legend for Megd. I think it's more relevant in the meta. You don't see a lot of Katars coming out, and when you do, it's like a Lucian pick because you can also rely on the blasters, which are incredible in meta, and of course you still have high movement speed as well.
Yeah, it's definitely an option that people can pick here. I think it's good into a lot of stuff, and I've also been saying it. Phazon's been saying it. That's why you see him basically pick it into everything. If it starts losing, maybe he'll default to the Val. But the Hattori's a pick that she's been feeling very abandoned, you know? Godly had that stint with it as a counter pick at BCX last year, but we haven't really seen any true Hattori main or someone that really wants to, well, we have Capstar, but someone who really wants to take it to the highest heights.
I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to be rude.
Yeah, no.
Really, it's the way that you said it. The way that you said it made me laugh.
It's just the way it's the way that it is. It's the way I said it. It's the way that it is.
No disrespect. No disrespect. I'm not being rude. No disrespect.
Hattori to the highest heights there is, and that could be Megd as he pulls that game into his favor and takes it back to Apocalypse again. Impala is not willing to change the map, not willing to change the character, but he is going to change the outcome of this game, he hopes.
Oh yeah, people are saying Java. Honestly,
yeah.
I didn't forget about Java. Really, Java is sitting in my mind right now, permanently implanted with the Finn. It's that the Finn has been so good lately that I actually forgot that Java also played Hattori for a little while.
Never forget about Java, man. It's just because he's the Bodvar player. He's the resident Bodvar player. Like, when we think of Java, even though he plays only Hattori now, I'm still thinking about the yellow truck stop Bodvar.
Yeah, okay. I see that as well. I miss it. Java was like one of my favorite hammer players in the world, if not my absolute favorite in the world for a very, very long time. I would love to see him make a comeback.
Waffling? Impala just took his first hit in this game.
Yep, he's crazy. He's crazy on it. There is a weapon spawn on the field. I don't think either player is really going to use it unless like they choose to do the weapon toss for the edge guard. I don't think they really want to swap onto the weapon for the actual kit.
Neither of them really mind the weapons they have. Impala, extraordinary down light there, but he didn't think he could get the recovery off, so he goes for the neutral air, and it's not going to get. Wait, he wants bow again. You were talking about they're not going to swap anything. He picked up the spear and instantly threw it away, getting another bow out. Now he's going to have the spear one more time, it looks like.
He really didn't want it. He was around the weapon spawn and said, "No, I'm gonna go in unarmed here. You can take the spear if you want, Megd." Weapon spawn coming in.
Neutral air KOs.
Yep, that means a lot of damage was built up. What's crazy is how he built up that damage, and it was over like a reasonable period of time. It wasn't super quick. It started off quick, then kind of tapered off towards the end. It was like a minute and a half, but in that process, he took maybe 110, 120 damage. So his defense so far has been really good, and he's already playing a high defense legend.
Yeah, it's gonna very much hurt Hattori here, and that's kind of the thing with Hattori. Even though it is good at racking up damage, good at moving around the map, the signatures don't kill till very late, and the light force on the weapons also means you're not going to see a knockout happen till the very depths of the HP. I don't even think a good double down like Sair right here would knock out Impala just yet, and it doesn't look like it's even going to happen as Impala refuses to waste his dodge. And this is something I noticed last year at BCX too, while analyzing the event. It was like Impala doesn't dodge unless you make him dodge. Right, even off that hit right there, we see the end light come out, and he just dashes through Megd, keeping the dodge as a defensive option for when he needs it in the dire moments.
And that's going to be like really smart against a spear player, because a lot of spear players will just try to go for like the standard flowchart game plan of like, oh, I'm going to side light, wait for your dodge, I'm going to throw another side light, now I'm going to do the D-light Sair, or I'm going to do the D-light, maybe I'm going to get cheeky and go for the double D-light. So the fact that he's not using that dodge means it's not going to be on cooldown when it matters, so he doesn't get hugely strung all over the stage and then loses stock. Side stick comes out finally to get out that first stock, but that was, I'm looking at the time right now, that was just under a 3-minute stock from Impala. That's huge.
And we saw that mostly play out with the power of the bow kit into the spear kit, right? Megd decided that he wants to play mostly spear and get this kind of 50-50 matchup where it's like, okay, who plays spear better? It's a skill diff, right? And then Impala goes, all right, play all the spear you want. I'm going to get in and out of your hitboxes using the bow kit, and you've been seeing mostly that happen throughout the set, keeping mostly bow in hand, not opting really to spear to him at all.
You saw the bounce pass to himself, making sure he doesn't get disarmed. Wants to 100% stick onto that bow as long as he can. That neutral light hitting basically stacked.
The downer actually, yeah, it hit there, but that downer barely missing. I was like, wait, is this Impala? That's one of the first interactions where I see him. He micro spaces it just slightly off and misses his downer angle.
Ooh, trying to go for the back-to-back break dances. That was a little bit of a wild option. Of course, he has room to play with, so even if he lost his stock there, which he's not even close to doing, but if it happened, he's still in a really good spot.
We're gonna see a down stick come out soon.
Oh, on-stage ground pound actually as the option. Gonna stick to the middle of the stage now, stack right on top, doesn't really have those great stacked options, goes for the long ranger, throwing off the top, getting the KO, and we're gonna be moving into game 4 now that Impala has a 2-1 lead.
Some very good adaptation from both these players here. We see a 2-stock come out from Impala, and then Megd says, oh, it's like that then? He's 2-stocks him back, but Impala goes, wait, it is like that then. And he 2-stocks him again. It's like that scene where Gojo comes back to Toji and he's like, you're right, you're so right, and Impala's just Gojo.
I
don't know if you've seen
he is Gojo. I've been saying that. I've said that for a while now. And Megd, if I had to pick anybody that Megd is, it's Toji all day.
Maybe not Megd is Toji, but the reference is there.
Yeah, for sure. That's Jujutsu Kaisen.
That sorcery fight. But we're going back into the game here, and it is going to be Demon Island. We're talking about sorcery fight, and it's Demon Island. Everything is flowing together. He is Gojo.
He truly is. And we're seeing a legend swap here. We're seeing the sword.
Wait, this is a different one.
We're seeing the
this one's catching me off guard. The Koji coming out for Megd, that's one we haven't seen in a long time.
I had to think about, I wasn't ready for the crossover, so the reason I said we have the bow and we have the swords, because I had to program in my brain, wait, who has bow and sword? Oh yeah, it's Koji, a legend I haven't seen in a hot minute.
Unless it's Akno playing it and maybe Godly matching him in the Ditto for some reason. You don't really get to see too many Koji players come back out, but Megd's doing his best with it. He already put one signature out. It is going to be a whiff, but he didn't really get punished for it. And does he want bow? It looks like he doesn't want to go in with the sword. He finds the bow, and we finally see him opting to break neutral now. Wait.
Setting over on the edge, the recovery ends up grabbing over the corner.
Maybe he's been hiding this for a reason.
Yeah, he's got a nice lead here.
Cider is going to disarm Impala here, and it also is going to catch his recovery.
Okay.
So that's going to be a nice, relatively early stock for Megd here. And I'm not going to lie, as a Koji player, I do actually like this matchup. I think it's a very good one. You have the sword to deal with a lot of stuff, but you also have that bow. And if you're comfortable with the bow ditto, you also beat it into the spear. You're just going to feel like a good guy all the time, especially into Impala. Impala's the bow player right now. He's the guy that's playing bow, and no one else is playing bow. But I also think as a player, he's kind of weak into bow. Just because of the way he likes to move, he likes to hover in the air. If you can get these downlights out on him like Megd's doing now, you can bait him out and get these anti-aerial options. Bo's really good into dealing with Impala, and Megd's showing it right here.
I mean, I feel like he just doesn't have to deal with really strong bow players almost ever, because it's like it's Acno, and I mean like the people you're running into at the end of tournament when it really matters. I'm talking about the best players in the world. There's just not a lot of bow players out there. There's the occasional Vector, but even then, how often is Impala running into Vector players? I'm looking at like you sometimes, but other than that, yeah, maybe it's
Is there
just
another Vector player?
Not that I can think of right now.
I mean, you're 100% right, though. A lot of the top players will agree, Bo is so strong. Are we gonna ever see you play it, guys? We've mainly got Laura's, Use, and Impala himself playing Bo at a high level, and for the most part, Impala's just been kind of dealing with all of them pretty well.
I guess it's just Megd's different.
Megd knows.
See if he's going to be waiting
on sword here
for the weapon spawn to come in, or if he just wants to stick with sword here. We haven't seen him really try and commit to the standard auto KO combo options, the D-Light recovery, the D-Light cider, depending on where you are. He hasn't really been extending off stage for the down air KO or anything like that. He's just been playing standard neutral. Might get him into trouble here, though. He seems like he's having trouble closing this one out. Impala is just putting so much space between the two that Megd just barely has the range to get in. Like, it's going to be that sword neutral light, but from middle of the stage, it could potentially set up into an edge guard. But again, Megd's not really stretching off stage.
Now you can just see how bad Megd wants it here. He's not switching over because it needs to be the sword knockout. It's the easier weapon to knock out with, and that Nair is still not going to do it the high ceiling of Demon. But Impala is just doing such a good job of maneuvering right outside the Spear's hitboxes. He doesn't want to commit to anything. That punish is going to come through, and he doesn't care about the weapon. That punish is going to come through on the movement, and he's still holding on to the stock. Side air is finally going to knock it out. But Megd's basically lost that lead he made for himself at the start.
And now we're seeing kind of what I was touching on earlier, is like Megd is having to do an incredible amount of damage to close out games. There was a game previously when he was averaging like 230 damage per stock, and all of that time, that's giving Impala time to come back and add up damage. That if we flipped it around, we talked about Impala taking a long time to close out stocks earlier, but he wasn't actually taking damage in the process. That was when he was like 2 stocks up, and he was just in the orange on that first stock, even though he was averaging like 3 minutes a stock so far in the game. So we're seeing like 2 major differences here, but things are really turning around for Megd. He's adding up so much unanswered damage. This is huge.
We're talking about how hard it is for him to take the stocks and how that gives his opponent time to catch up. But as soon as that stock is gone, when it comes to building the damage, he gets that bow in hand and he just feels so good with it, so clutch there. He finally gets an early stock there as soon as he gets him the red with the sword edge guard. And we're going into game 5 with both players. No more switches for Megd. This is it. You 2-stocked him there, but it can't be like the Tori, right? We can't go into this game and get 2-stocked because there's no pick after this. There's no match after this. This is where it all ends. Going into this game 5, the Koji versus the Kaya. The bow has been looking good for Megd, so he's got to do it again.
Now that GCD light that we just saw on the replay, that was like one of the first offstage engagements that we really saw Megd go for. He burned his dodge there to do the D-Light, so that was a risk. And he also went for the D-Light dare. Ended up missing the dare, but still, that was one of the first offstage engagements actually reaching out there that we saw from Megd. One of the first major commitments we saw offstage from Megd. And of course, he was with that sword that he spent so much time on that we really know him for.
Now Impala, this time he's opting to go for bow v bow, and you're seeing him get a good early string there, but Megd's already gotten a bit of damage for himself, so they're just trading evenly right now. Yep, you can see the hits coming in. Megd gets one, Impala gets one back. That's another tap. There's 2 in a row from Impala, and maybe he can start feeling himself here, but nope. Megd hits him right back. Now 6 is going to be the first big commitment from these players.
We're here in game 5 on Apocalypse. Both of them going relatively even. Megd was able to swipe out that weapon. The next spawn comes in on the soft platform. No major rush from Impala on it. He's playing it relatively safe. Does pick up the spear. Neutral stick comes out. Was really far away on it. So Megd was still safe. Impala went back up into the air and caught him with the second neutral signature as he was coming in for a landing.
Now we're allowed to miss 1, but that just means we're going for 2 because... What? Keep gambling. It's like Sparky showed you guys yesterday. Put your money on the house and the house will pay you good. as
All
the second neutral sig takes him off the top.
All gamblers lose right before they're about to make it big. It's coming. Trust me. Keep gambling. You will win. You will change your life. Megd is proof right here. You're seeing it in front of you today. We saw it yesterday as well.
Now Impala opting to play calm here. You can see him just going off stage. He only comes back on for a split second to get his jumps reset from the wall slip there, and then he's instantly just back off now. Okay, sidelight's gonna be the option.
Weapon spawn coming in, grabs it. Immediately
he's gonna
throws
want
it.
the bow here,
Oh,
but
Megd snaked
Megd
it away.
swipes it.
But with that weapon toss that Impala did, you saw he was able to immediately grab it before it despawned. So there was a really safe weapon toss that he did. There is technique in that weapon toss alone.
Impala just looks so uncomfortable in this spear versus bow matchup. He's able to get some damage there with the weapon throw. I'm surprised he's not opting to swap it away here, but Megd is able to catch him out. You can see he's just misspacing these end lights because Bonaire just has that option to be on top of you at all times, whether on the ground or in the air. He's able to just win you out neutral. Now he's finding end lights, but he's not finding much more, and the damage from that isn't going to be enough to win this game for him. Megd switching the sword. Now he has Impala in the red here, and Impala wall slipping has to go on. The end light's going to be the edge guard, but it's not going to KO just yet.
And no major offstage engagement. Again, it was that like one that we saw previously in the last game. He moved over for a second, but Impala was ready for that one. Immediately came out with the unarmed recovery. Ended up hitting Megd before he was able to put out a single hitbox. Impala's behind here. He's also at weapon disadvantage, but Megd is being very careful about how he chooses to engage. There's the neutral air. It was from the edge of it, sending up high, but not completely into the blast zone. The bow is here. Oh, he's gonna pay for that one. That had to be a misinput.
No, that could not have been the option. Weapon throw into taunt, I think they patched out a long time ago, bro. And you could already see what Megd's goal was there with the sword. He just wanted to take that stock so that he could play this bow once again. Kind of just like beat him in neutral like he's been doing here. That's the first snare, and that's going to be the first snare of many, as you can see him trying to get the juggles out now with the end lights. Playing this platform, waiting for Impala to make a mistake, and there it is. The sidelight just whiffs and is punished immediately. This very, very non-risk punish game that Megd is going for here. Impala can't find his way in, can't break neutral. And he needs an answer. He needs to throw out a signature or something. The weapon throws is going to leave him unarmed. Megd matches it, and now he's the one with no weapon, but Impala still hasn't thrown a hitbox out.
That was a great weapon swipe from Impala. He was using like the max range of it to grab it right out from under Megd without putting himself in any real danger. The side air, setting up for the edge guard. Doesn't even need the edge guard. You saw the sweat beads coming out when he was way, way, way too far away from the stage to actually get over to the wall and reset his jumps. So we're in a good spot here. That weapon toss is going to bonk him on the head just a little bit. But yeah, Impala's done a great job bringing this one back here as we're both on final stocks in Game 5. Keep in mind, this is Elimination Semifinals. Winner of this moves on to face Luna. The loser of this is going to miss the podium, going to be in 4th place.
All I can think about from that edge guard was, who is Impala? Because Megd goes down there for a recovery, bringing him back up. He doesn't want to go for the edge guard, he just wants to bring him back up with the recovery. And all I'm thinking there is, wait, why is Megd doing this? This is surprising to me, but Impala just knows. He just calls him out with the side air, and now we're getting deep into the last stocks here. Impala is getting tagged by these bone airs. At this point, it looks like a recovery or a downlight recovery. Yep, might be the end of that stock. No, the Kaya defense on Apocalypse coming in clutch. It's going to be one more hit from Megd. Go, there's the downlight, there's the nair, and there's the set. Going in Megd's favor, he's the one that's going to move on. They've all placed for their candy, but Megd is now saying, all right, now that I've gotten the real prize, let's just see if we can get a little bit of change for our worth here.
And that was